Hey, what's going on everyone? It's your boy Redstone Knights here, and welcome back to another mod showcase video. Now today's video, I'm going to be showcasing you guys a simple mod that adds in some different kinds of swords that can help you out when you venture in your Minecraft world. Now, before I go into more detail on what those swords are in this mod guys, you know the drill. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss another video. Apart from that guys, let's begin today's video. Okay guys, so here are all the different kinds of swords that this mod has done. So just a couple of cool looking swords that it has to offer. And as always, I will leave a link in the description down below so you guys can try this mod out for yourself later on. Now, let us begin. So the mod we're checking out today is called the YDM's Spellswords mod. And here are the different swords. We got Flame Tongue, Frostbite, Spider Fang, Life Seeker, Persecutor, Blighter, Double Edge, Wrath of Zeus, and Lawless Warblade. And we're just gonna go through each of them one by one. And also I'm just gonna grab myself some armor and some food real quick. And I'll explain why I have these ores lined up under the swords later on in this video. So, what you need to do to make all these swords is to use a smithing table. So for the first one, Flame Tongue, all you need is to combine an iron sword with blaze powder to get the Flame Tongue, which you can probably guess that it sets your enemies on fire. And it does 8 attack damage too, so. And also the good thing about these swords is that you don't need to like use up any XP or anything like that, because with an enchanting table you need to combine them with an enchantment which will cost levels. With this, it doesn't require that at all, so that might be a bit of an improvement. Okay, so let me put all these swords up here and let's get down to business, shall we? So I'm gonna spawn a Vindicator and let's get to it. So let's fight. So it does decent damage too, 8 attack damage, and sets your enemies on fire. And all you need is to combine it with an iron sword and blaze powder with this. Very nice. Okay, so now let's move on to the next sword, Frostbite. So to make this, it's iron sword again, and this time you need blue ice to make the Frostbite, and it applies a freeze effect on your target. So with this, you just need. So when you attack a Vindicator with it, it'll give like a little frostbite effect. I think it's supposed to make them a little slower and also cause damage at the same time, you know, as a frostbite effect. But it didn't seem a bit slower, but I'm guessing that's supposed to be the point of the sword. But hey, it still does decent attack damage like the Flame Tongue here, and chips away opponents' health and that sort of thing, so that's good too. Okay, so now let's move on to the Spider Fang. So for this, you just need an iron sword and a spider eye, not a fermented spider eye, just a regular one to make the Spider Fang. And although it does seem like it does less damage than the first two I just showed, at least it does poison your target when you hit them, which can be very good too. So here we go again. As you can see, this Vindicator is getting very much poison with every hit. And I want to assume that's maybe poison 2 or 3, since it was losing health quite quickly and such. Okay, so now let's move on to the next sword, which is the Life Seeker. This one is a very useful sword indeed. So for this, you just need an iron sword and a Totem of Undying, so it's a little bit more expensive to make the life-seeking sword. So you can probably guess what this does. It's a life steal, so you pretty much steal the health of your enemies to regenerate your own. Pretty much. So as you can see, as I'm each hit, I'm pretty much regaining hearts back. So that's why I'm saying this is a very useful sword. And it does as much damage as a regular diamond sword too, which is very good indeed. Okay, so now let's move on to the next sword, which is the Persecutor. Okay, so for this one, it doesn't really have a crafting recipe, but I'm going to assume you could probably find this in dungeon loot and that sort of thing. But regardless, we'll see what this sword does. So it marks your targets with a glow effect, and it does 6 attack damage. So I think it pretty much just gives a glowing effect every time you hit them. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure if what's really the point of that. Maybe it could be useful if you're battling enemies in the dark and you can't really see them. Like if you're in a cave or something, that's probably when this will be useful. But in broad daylight, not so much. Okay, so now let's move on to the Blight. So for this one, you just need an iron sword and a wither rose to make this. So it does the same attack damage as the spider fang right here. Also, I just noticed that the spider fang and the blighter actually have an increased attack speed than the other sword, so you can hit much quicker, and applies a withering effect with each hit, which can be very useful in combat. Like, literally, look how fast I can swing this. This is insane. So I guess this could be very useful for close combat. Like, you can literally just spam click almost and watch them wither away in combat. Okay, let me eat some food real quick so I can regen some health. Okay, now let's move on to the next sword, which is the double-edged blade. Now, I believe this is another sword that doesn't have a crafting recipe, but I'm guessing you could probably find it in dungeon loot and that sort of thing. Just like the Persecutor sword. And this is an interesting sword, because this does massive damage, but at the cost of your HP, so I'm guessing it pretty much means it'll do a lot of damage to enemies, but it'll cost you some of your own health to do that. So as you can see, every time I hit a mob, I lose some health in the process. Hold on, let me spawn a couple more. So I guess it's a very powerful tool, but I would say be careful when using this, because if you use this a little too much, then you could pretty much take yourself out in the process of this sword. So I guess make sure you have a lot of healing items with you. Okay, now let's move on to the last 2 swords right here. Let me put all these back. Now we're on to the Wrath of Zeus sword. So to make this... Oh, hold on. To make this, you just need a diamond sword this time and a nether star to make the Wrath of Zeus. So with this sword, it pretty much, like, every time you hit a mob, it'll strike them with lightning. I'm guessing hence why they called it Wrath of Zeus. So, when you hit a mob... Wait, there we go. Get smited by lightning. But again, be careful, because I think when you hit a mob, it'll actually do some damage to you too, because you're quite close to the lightning. So let me do that again. Yep, see, because the lightning kind of hits you too in the process, so make sure you be careful. I mean, it doesn't do that much damage to you, but still be careful regardless. Okay, now we're on to the final sword, which is the Lawless Warblade. So to make this, you need a nether sword this time, and you actually need to combine it with a end crystal to make the Lawless Warblade. So what this pretty much does, it says random effect on each hit. It pretty much means that it's going to randomly cause an effect from each of the other 8 blades, pretty much. So you have a random chance of getting some of the other hits from the other sword. So you could say it's pretty much like having all the effects from the first 8 swords on one blade, except you're not going to know what effect you're going to get because it's randomized. Which could be pretty handy in combat, you might say. And it does 10 attack damage, same as the double-edged sword right here. Okay, so the reason I have the ingots out was because because these are ways you can repair the swords if needed. So with the flame tongue, for example, you can repair it with an iron ingot, like so. Same with all these other swords right here. For the double edge and the Wrath of Zeus blade, however, you need 1 diamond to repair them. And for the Lawless Warblade, you need a netherite ingot to repair them. Just in case you guys were curious on how to repair them if you want to keep using them. And also I made some enchanted them so you can see what they look like when they've been enchanted. So Flame Tongue and Frostbite do 11 attack damage, Spire Fang does 8, Lifeseeker does 10, Persecutor does 9, Blighter does also 8, Double Edge does 13 attack damage, Wrath of Zeus does 12, and Lawless Warblade does 13 when enchanted. So these can be pretty helpful in your Minecraft world, you might say, if you ever make or come across these. And yeah, that is pretty much YDM's Spellswords mod in Minecraft 1.16.5. And that, my friends, is gonna wrap up for today's video. So if you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like this, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss another video. Apart from that, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all next week in the next one. Goodbye!